Hi, and welcome to Comedy Recap. Today we'll be examining 1998's Basketball. Beware spoilers ahead. The crowd cheers as a baseball game goes on, and Reggie goes up to the plate to knock another ball out of the park. The ball goes straight to Coop. And he tells Reamer that he's going to grow up to be a great baseball player too. As the time passes, the new millennia comes around and we see the sports life has changed to follow the highest bidder. The talent pool has grown small and teams have to recruit from prisons in Texas, so brawling has become part of the sports. Hockey fans didn't notice a difference. Fans stopped showing up, and eventually sports became inner sports as they combined them. Coop and Reamer grow up and their aspirations have changed. They show up at a house party that is going to have all of their old high school friends. And they haven't changed a bit. They head upstairs to Brittany's room where they get close and personal with what they think are her personal items, but it turns out to be her mom's room. They head outside and try to figure out what women want, and they happen to draw the attention of some of the guys at the party. They agree to play a game of basketball for money, and they play by Coop and Reamer's new rules that they just came up with that mixes basketball and baseball. After beating the posh guys senseless, Cooper and Reamer are still confused by how the other guys still end up with the girls. It is clear that the thing they're missing are jobs, and they agree that tomorrow they will change their lives. When the next day comes, Squeak shows up to turn off the gas. But after tricking him to go in with their dog, they draw him into the world of basketball. 3 months later, they're playing a real game that draws in a crowd to their driveway, and Squeaks moves in with them since he lost his job due to them. Cooper actually makes a basketball out of a recliner leather, and they go on to win the World Championship of Basketball that just so happens to be teams that were based out of their neighborhood. Afterwards, a big hotshot corporate man approaches Coop and gives him a pitch for a National Basketball League. After imagining the glory, Coop agrees. Years later, Coop and the Beers play their professional league game, and it's a close game. When Coop gets psyched out by one of the other team's players, they end up losing the biggest game of their lives. And the owner of the league falls over and dies after he chokes on a hot dog. After hitting the shower, Coop sulks out of the locker room and he runs into Jenna, who asks for his autograph for the children she cares for. Later on at the reading of the will, Coop finds out that the entire team has been bequeathed to him, but only if he wins the championship this season. If he doesn't, it goes back to his wife, Yvette. After hearing this, another owner, Baxter, starts to really come onto her, and he has her buff his lobby. When the new season starts, they end up winning the first game without any problems, but Baxter shows up to introduce himself. He tells Coop that there is an owners meeting coming up to vote on changing the lucrative points of the game. But Coop thinks that the game is just fine how it is. As the season goes on, the Beers continue to win, and the psych-out battles continue throughout the country. One day, Coop shows up at the hospital to visit Joey, one of Jenna's sidekicks that wanted to meet him. Joey tells him that he wants to be just like him when he grows up. But he goes on to tell him that he's also dying in a week. Joey tells him that his dream is to spend a day with the team. He gets his wish and has Jenna come with him. They spend a day doing yard work, changing oil, and doing laundry. By the end of the day, they head to a dive bar to do shots of tequila, and Joey talks about how this day has been so much fun. Coop realizes that they have a game in a little bit, and Joey has a big liver operation that same night. Joey tells him that he just wants Coop to hit a home run for him. But Reamer tells him that Coop will throw 3 in one game for him. When it comes time for the game, Cooper, Reamer, and Squeaks are sick to their stomachs and drunk out of their minds. But Coop manages to throw 2 home runs with ease. When it comes time for his final throw, he completely misses the shot, and the arena is devastated that he couldn't follow through with his promise. They rush to the hospital where they think that Joey is dying due to Coop missing his shot, but Coop tries to save Joey even though nothing is really wrong. By the time he's done helping, the entire hospital loses power. When Coop goes home, he goes to watch the historic Reggie Jackson moment that inspired his athletic outlook, but he finds that someone actually recorded over the home run that he caught as a child. Just then, Jenna shows up and she tells Coop that Joey is doing just fine after all. She thanks him for everything he's done for Joey, and Coop tells her that she has no idea what he's done at this point. After talking for a moment, Jenna asks him what he means by saying that. They used to be happy playing, but Coop can't figure out how to get back that feeling. Then, Jenna and Coop start to show a closer connection, and they wind up sharing a magical kiss. That quickly turns into more, but Reamer and Squeaks show up and ruin the moment. The next day, Reamer shows up to Baxter's office and they meet to discuss the payment that basketball players are making. Baxter talks to Reamer about how he could make millions if he could just make Coop go along with the changes he wants to make in the sport. When it comes time for the next game, all of the Beers players decide to throw the game now that they know that Coop turned down Baxter's offer without even asking them. He agrees to make them part owners of the team as well, and the team rallies to win every game for 10 straight games. After that last game, Baxter notices Jenna talking to Coop, and he decides to figure out a way to use her to get him. In the next game, the Beers manage to win a spot in the playoffs by Squeak psyching out one of the biggest players, and when Coop notices Jenna, they run over to check on her. Jenna tells Coop and Reamer that the funding of her foundation has been cut and she's going to have to close up. After Jenna runs off, Baxter shows up to try and point out that there is an option for making money for Jenna's foundation, and Reamer signs the Beers up without a second thought. Coop is not happy, but there isn't much he can do to change things at this point. A clothing line is created and Reamer sells all sorts of merchandise. Once the players start, the Beers start things off right, but Reamer's really starting to look like a sellout while he does his movie deals in the dugout. In the locker, Reamer hops into the hot tub with a Playmate of the Year, and later, Coop talks about how he's about to give Jenna a commitment ring. Just then, Baxter shows up and hands them an envelope with pictures of children making merchandise in Calcutta. Baxter threatens to put out the pictures unless Reamer and Coop miss the finals cup coming up. Next, Jenna comes in and tells them that she's seen the pictures of the sweatshop. After she storms out, Reamer decides that Coop is no longer his best friend and he storms out too. When Coop goes for a drive that night, the radio seems to speak to him in mysterious ways and he decides to take a plane to Calcutta. Once there, he takes a taxi to the sweatshop and he tries to stop the production. While Coop tries to do his good deed in Calcutta, an episode of Unsolved Mysteries tries to go over what could have happened to him. Finally, it's time for the big game, and Reamer tries to rally the troops. Reamer tries to tell them that they didn't need Coop, but Coop just manages to show up at the last minute. By the 7th inning, the Beers are losing horribly, and Jenna tells the kids that they shouldn't watch the game. When the Unsolved Mysteries episode tells people that Coop actually went to Calcutta to replace the child workers with adults who get benefits, Jenna has a change of heart and she takes all of the kids to the arena. In the stands, Baxter has his guys get ready to move the team to Florida after the Beers lose, but Squeaks gives a charismatic speech. The rest of the Beers are ready to rally together. Coop and Reamer share a passionate best friend kiss, and they head back to the game to bring the Beers back onto the map for the scoreboard. In the 9th inning, the Beers are down by 2, and it is up to Coop to win the game. When he goes to make his shot, his prized recliner ball pops, and Coop tries to find a ball that will help him shoot just like his old ball. Just then, Jenna and the other kids show up, and Joey gives Coop a ball that he and Jenna made. Coop takes the ball and he goes to shoot a home run. He misses, but Reamer keeps it alive enough for Coop to convert the shot. The Beers win! Everyone celebrates the championship win, and Coop goes to Jenna, who hops onto him and kisses him. Squeaks gets the girl of his dreams, and Reamer ends up making the moves on Yvette. They are matches made in heaven. As Coop signs autographs, he notices Reggie Jackson walking onto the field, and he goes to tell him what an inspiration he is. After that, Reamer goes to milk himself on Baxter, and the Beers collect their trophy. As they roller skate around the arena, we hear that the spirit of sports has once again flourished, thanks to basketball and the dreams of Coop, Reamer, and Squeaks. It's rare to see Trey Parker and Matt Stone in a live-action showing, but you can definitely feel the roots of South Park coming through in this one. It's fantastic and a good laugh all around. And that wraps up this recap. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this recap, please subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss a single video.